get ready to get sticky. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Corona Crush is creating Jewish couples always. Join the Facebook group. Just search Corona Crush and look out for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. They're 100% free and 100% Jewish.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sticky Situations. I'm your host, Rachel, which all of you already know because I'm unforgettable. Everyone, whatever platform you are listening on, go follow, subscribe, give it a 5-star rating and a glowing review. If you have something not so nice to say, just don't say it. You can also go follow Sticky Situations page on Facebook, follow Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram, follow Sticky Situations Pod on TikTok. If you would like to be a guest on my podcast, you can. There are applications in my Corona Crush post. There are applications on the Facebook page. Meaning there's only one application, but there's links to it in all these places. And there's links on the Instagram page. You might have to dig for them, but also you could send me a DM at Sticky Situations Pod on Instagram or an email at stickysituationspod@gmail.com. Same goes for if you want to date any of my single guests on the podcast. You know that I want to be a shotgun. So, let's try to make it happen. Just, fill out the application or just send me a message and I will try to make it happen for you. Okay, everybody. That's business, I think. I don't know. It's been a long day. But, so, everyone, I have an extra special guest today. Everyone, please welcome to the podcast my friend Hannah. Hannah, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to hang out with you.
I know, this is so exciting. I'm excited to hang out with you
unforgettable.
too. Really though? Okay, so I'm going to tell you, me and Hannah had a meal together, a Shabbat meal, months ago. And of course, any Shabbat meal I go to, anywhere I go, I network the podcast. I'm like, do you want to come be a guest on my podcast? Do you want to come be a guest on my podcast? And usually I say it enough and people know how to find me, but I'm not going to harass people. Unless someone says they're actually interested right then and there is when I'll follow up with them and be okay, I'll send you a message. Which also sometimes I forget because I just have or people are on my list and I just haven't gotten to them yet. But I'm pretty sure Hannah was let me listen, I'll think about it, I'll let you know. And then a few months later she messages me, she's like, so I listened to your podcast and I want to come on. And I was like, yes, this is what we like.
It was also a random meal. It was a random group of people.
It was such a weird meal also.
And I think we sat next to each other and I was just
yeah.
I really like this girl.
Oh, thank you. I felt the same about you.
We also have similar jobs and
yes.
Some people might consider our jobs boring, which I find offensive because we're just not boring people.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the least boring person I know.
Right.
But my job is pretty boring. But it's okay. We just like stability. Okay, everybody, there's no problem
with that.
There's no problem with having a stable paycheck. All these influencers are out there doing social media things, all these Gen Z people. I'm not hating on Gen Z because I'm really waiting for Gen Z to take over corporate America and make 4-day work weeks and straight 9 to 5.
Gen Z. I feel like I'm a millennial out here living in a Gen Z world.
I know. I kind of wish I was Gen Z too. I already do the middle part. I can't do, the low-rise jeans. I also still like my skinny jeans.
I know. Skinny jeans forever. Gen Z is crazy for that.
Yeah, their fashion trends are a little off.
And, the eating of Tide Pods and stuff, but I think they moved past that.
Yeah, I think so, too. But, their just idea of absolutely not giving a crap about anything, I'm for that.
Though, I'm so influenced by them because I saw a girl... She posted a TikTok making fun of how millennials post Instagram stories, the fonts they use and putting music and all these things. It was oh my god, that's everything I do. And now I completely changed how I post my Instagram stories. And my friends are you're insane. Everyone knows you're a millennial. Who cares? No, I want to be cool.
I saw a similar TikTok and I felt personally targeted.
Right?
But it could be worse. We could be posting on Facebook.
You know what else I felt personally targeted? The American Girl dolls, they have a historical character now who's from 1999.
Oh, I feel personally victimized. We're not that old.
No.
The 90s weren't that long ago.
The 90s were the best. I'm still not over it.
Yeah, and the early 2000s were good. I don't remember that much of the 90s. I was a child.
Yeah.
I mean, I like do
You're a
remember.
bit
Like, I
younger
remember
than
the
me.
millennium. Like,
Do you remember 9/11? Because I asked
yeah.
this to guys, and if they say no, that's how I know they're too young for me.
Yeah. I mean, I was young. I was in first grade, I think. Either first grade or second grade.
I will say, though, I was hanging out with a 25-year-old guy recently, which is quite a bit younger than me. And I kept asking him questions about 9/11, and finally he was like, "Were you there or something? Like, why are you so obsessed?" I'm like, "No, it's just a big thing that happened in my life."
Yeah, like, I think it was in 2001.
Yeah,
September
I was in
2001.
7th grade.
Okay, so I was in second grade. And, like, I remember it. I remember we had an assembly. I remember, like, everyone's parents coming to get them from school except for my mom. And to this day, I still make her feel guilty about it. I'm like, Mom, remember how everyone else's parents came to get them at school and you left me and my brother at school? And she still feels guilty. I kind of feel
My parents
bad.
came to get me.
But also,
Sorry.
like, I'm not from the New York area.
I'm also not, and honestly, because we were younger classmen, they didn't tell us what was going on.
Oh,
But we
really?
heard that, like, something had happened, so I just assumed something was going on in my hometown. Like, I didn't know it was something in New York. And then when I heard, like, I was getting an early dismissal, I'm like, oh my God, it's that bad that my mom is picking me up. And I go outside and both my parents are there.
Oh.
And I say to my dad, I'm like, what is going on? And he explains it to me in really big words that I didn't really understand. And I'm like, okay, good. I thought it was something bad. And he's like, well, this is bad. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah. I think I remember the other elementary school kids there. They probably had an assembly for the high schoolers and
Yeah,
like
the high school
middle
kids knew what was
schoolers.
going on.
But like they had an assembly for the elementary school kids where they told us what was happening.
Oh, so your school is more informative than mine, more progressive.
But wait, okay, so we referenced like age already. So before we continue, Hannah, can you tell me and my listeners just like to get your demographics, your age, location, relationship status, and religious denomination?
Yes. So I'm 34. I live in the city, New York City. I would say I'm religious, like modern Orthodox, but also not so religious. I don't know, kind of hard to explain. And what was the other relationship status?
Yeah, relationship
I'm
status.
not in a relationship.
Okay. So, just to give you guys more information as we talk about our 9/11 experiences. So now you know. But
I find dating so stressful.
yeah.
And I don't know if you feel this way, but like the talking stage, I find it to be so boring. And it's painful for me. Like, I don't want to be asked how many siblings I have, what my favorite color is. I don't want to talk about my job. Like, just be more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That's why like when I find a guy who like can banter,
Yes.
I'm like these guys will ask me like 3 questions about my life and then they're like, "Oh, do you want to go get a drink?" And I'm like, "Honestly, no."
Oh, I'm totally about a phone screening now because I don't want to waste my time.
No, I agree with
I'll
you.
know within the first 3 minutes. I had a phone call recently. It was so bad and so painful that after 6 minutes, I was like, I'm sorry, I have to go do work. I have to go.
That's good.
Which wasn't
6
a lie.
minutes.
My boss was actually texting me, but I was like, I have to get off this phone call. I would
No.
rather do work than talk to this guy.
No, I agree. Like within the first couple minutes, you know. Although, no, I've had I told you guys about a bad phone call that I had where the guy was just insane. He was like normal in the first few minutes, but like I spent like a good portion of an hour screaming at him on the phone. But you guys can listen to that in my previous episodes. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I've gotten on video calls and I'm like, this is not it. And it's just like, I don't want to be here or on the phone.
But it's so much better because you can do it from your house in your pajamas. You don't have to give up one of your free nights for it.
Exactly. And
We're
it's
so busy at this age that it's just hard. you know?
yeah. And also like I only really allocate like, I'll give them like 20 minutes.
On a phone call.
Yeah. Unless I really, really, really need off. Like the more recent calls that I've had that were just really bad, aside from the one where I spent an hour yelling at him, they were just really bad. And I'm like, I don't want to be here, so I'm not going to be here. So, oh my God, there was one, I think I talked about it before. It was so painful. He like, he was so awkward. And I'm pretty good at making conversation. Like, I'm a conversationalist. I could just talk forever. And so I just knew it wasn't it from like the first like 30 seconds. Honestly, probably before the call. I don't even know why I agreed to it. And he was so awkward. So when we would finish a topic of conversation, instead of me just continuing to talk like I would normally do, I was just quiet and I waited for him to. And like between every little bit of conversation, there was probably like a good 10 to 20 second awkward pause, maybe 30
It
seconds.
was all on you to make conversation.
No, and then after I didn't, he would like make conversation, but he was so awkward. So then finally, after 20 minutes of this, I was like, oh, okay, it was really nice to meet you. Bye.
And that was it? Or did you have to text him after and say you don't want to go out?
I texted him after. I was like, I always try to send a text after and be nice. Like, he was socially awkward, but like, he wasn't like a bad guy.
Right.
The guy I yelled at the end of the call was like, no.
I need to go back and listen to this story.
Yeah, no, I would retell it now, but it's a long story. No, it was bad. So at the end, I was like, no. I was like, no, just no.
No is a complete sentence. I've been hearing that quote so much recently.
What? No is a complete sentence?
Yeah.
I like that. Just say no.
Yeah. I also like the bad boys, so it's hard. Because the nice ones, I just find them boring, and I just don't, like, I want to be entertained.
When you say bad boy, can you elaborate?
Well, it's usually the guys who don't want a relationship, just want to play games, you know, just kind of want to, like, do their thing.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
hear.
just like, yes, sign me up. Like, I am entertaining, but I don't want to do all the work. Like, I need him to give something back, you know?
Same. Like, if I'm just talking to myself, I'd rather not.
Then I just date myself.
Yeah. And I don't want to date myself. I don't think I could handle
There's
myself.
a podcast that I listen to sometimes called Date Yourself Instead.
I've seen it. My old coworker actually went to high school with the girl who like does
really?
it. Yeah.
That's
It's here on TikTok a lot.
Yeah, she comes up in my TikTok. My TikTok algorithm is so messed up now. All that comes up are videos of these girls being like psychological ways to make a guy obsessed with you. And it's always like you need to cause him pain and pleasure
Oh God.
to make someone obsessed with you. And I'm like, but if I like him, why do I want to cause him pain? Like, I don't understand these games. I don't know how to play them.
Yeah, so I decided I'm very anti-game. I want a guy who's obsessed with me. Not in a creepy way, but like, I'm just his whole world, and like, he worships the ground that I walk on, and he's just obsessed with me. And like,
As he should be.
yeah, because like, what's there to not be obsessed with?
Well, so that's the thing. I want a guy who's obsessed with me, but at the same time kind of plays hard to get, because otherwise, because I always want what I can't have, you know?
Oh, no,
So if
I
can
like what's
have
right
him
in front of
too
me.
easily, then I get bored.
I like what's presenting itself on a silver platter in front of me.
See, that's like the healthier option.
Like, I just like knowing that a guy likes me. Like, I think I spent too much of my, like, younger 20s and my teens, like, chasing these guys who didn't want me. And then finally,
I'm
like...
still in that phase.
And then finally, like, I got into, like, healthier relationships where the guy's like, I like you. I want to be with you. And, like, they show it. It's not just saying it. It's showing it also.
Oh, 100%.
And, like...
Putting in the effort.
I'm like, that's so nice. Like, stability is so nice. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, the chase was fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, there was a guy I was obsessed with. So he keeps coming back up. Oh my God, wait. So I'll tell this story real quick. I've been seeing ghosts. Not actual ghosts. But, like, ghosts from my past. So, like, the other day I was running late. And I got to the subway, and I go all the way to the other end. And as I'm, like, very flustered and running to the other end of the subway before the subway comes, I lock eyes with this guy. And it was a guy who I, like, had a thing with, but, like, it was long distance. Like, he wasn't in New York. And we never actually met in person, and it ended, but I could have sworn it was him. But also it was just for, like, a brief second. Like, as I was running, we made eye contact, and I was like, is it him? Like, I never met him in person. Like, I don't remember what he looks like.
Sure
like, this was a while ago. I wasn't hallucinating. Like, I'm seeing ghosts, but, like, real ghosts. Like, not actual ghosts. And I was like, what is this? This is so weird. But I'm like, you know what? If I'm meant to see him, God will put him back in my path. And like, I haven't seen him. So
It's actually funny you say this about ghosts because recently, again on TikTok, I saw all these videos that were like, Mercury must be in retrograde or something because all these guys are coming back from the past. And I was like,
is
why
that what it
this
is?
happening to
Mercury
me?
is in retrograde.
And then suddenly I got a text from a guy who I had texted with a year ago. He just randomly texted me out of nowhere and was like, hey. And I'm like, what is happening? And then another guy reached out to me. Okay, can we talk about some like red flags versus deal breakers?
Yes.
Okay, so I met this guy a little while ago. It was actually funny because I met him in Shul and I was talking to him for a little bit and then he walked away, and right when he walked away my sister turned to me and said something about him, and he like saw her and he like turns back around and is like, what did you just say about me?
Wait, that's so weird.
But anyway, what she said to me was that he has a cat. And I'm terrified of cats, and to me that is like a deal breaker. And he reached out to me recently and asked me out again, and I didn't know what to do, but in the end I was like, I can't do it.
Because you have a cat.
What do you think? Like, do you think an animal would be a deal breaker or red flag?
This is a good question for me because I really don't like animals. It's not that I hate them or like have anything against them. I just don't want to take care of one.
Right.
Like, I'm totally happy. Like, I see my neighbor and her dog in the elevator all the time. I always give the dog pets and everything, except for the other day my hands were full and she was like jumping on me. I'm like, I don't have any hands to pet you right now. I would, but I just like, I have coffee and my phone and like just too much going on in my hands.
Right.
Like my brother and sister-in-law have a dog, like that's fine. But I just like don't want to take care of an animal. Also, here's my thing. People treat their animals like children. And when you start prioritizing an animal over like people, that's when I have a problem. And it's like, I mean, okay, so the guy who I thought I saw in the subway, actually, do you want to know why we never met in person? Is because he was supposed to come to New York to see me. But guess why he didn't come to New York?
Did his dog get sick?
His dog needed surgery.
Oh my god.
And like, I thought it was a lie also, but like it wasn't because someone else who knows him was like, no, that actually happened. And I was like, okay. Like, this guy gave me no reason to trust him after, and then like he kind of blew me off afterwards. And I'm like, that's not cool. Like, I kind of wish it was a lie and you just ghosted
People
me.
are
Like,
very attached to their pets. Like,
yeah, I'm like, it's
this
just
guy
a
apparently,
dog.
like, takes his cat camping with him.
That's weird.
And if you wouldn't give up your cat for me, then we just couldn't be together.
Like, I understand like that situation with the guy. His dog needed surgery. He was supposed to meet me. We hadn't met in person. We'd only been talking for a few weeks. Like, whatever. I get it that you're not prioritizing some random girl over your dog. I just didn't appreciate. I didn't appreciate being ghosted after that. But like, yeah. But if I was his wife, it's like who are you choosing? Me or the dog? So here's my thing with guys with pets. I'm okay. I'm like, obviously, like I'd probably like learn to love it because like that's my type of personality. But at the same time, I don't want to take care of it. Like, I don't want your dog becoming my responsibility. And also when it dies, we're not replacing it because I don't want a pet.
Right.
But like, also I'm not afraid of pets. Like, if he had like a pet that I was afraid of, like maybe that would be different. I'm trying to think of an animal I'm afraid of.
Literally like 70% of my nightmares are about me getting attacked by a cat.
That's so interesting.
Okay, another one. Would this be a deal breaker for you if a guy is shorter than you?
Well, I'm 5'2", so like he would have to be a midget. So in that case, it might be a deal breaker, but like no, I'm okay with it because for me in general, like I have a look that I like in a guy. Like obviously, like there's a look that I'm attracted to. Everyone has that. Aside from like the objective attractive guy, like there's a look that I like.
Right.
Like I gravitate to. But I don't need a guy to look like the look that I have in my head. Like,
right. You're
as
more
long as I'm much more of a personality type of person. And like, if he has a good personality, okay, as long as I'm not like repulsed by him, like that's okay. As long as he has like a good personality that I like,
See, girls are much more likely to say that than guys are.
Guys are disgusting.
Way more shallow.
Guys are so shallow and disgusting, and like,
oh my god, I got set up. This was a bad idea, but my mom's friend wanted to set me up with someone.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, do you have any pictures of him? And my mom was like, no, there are no pictures of him, but like he saw a picture of you. And I'm like, how is that fair?
Yeah. Like, ask him for a picture. Also, like, I just think it's a safety thing. Like, I want to know what the guy looks like who I'm meeting up with.
Right. I mean, I didn't end up going out with him, but the whole thing was very
Did you ever see a picture of him?
No, to this day, like, I could pass him on the street and have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, okay, wait. I have to go back to my ghost story because you're talking about passing someone on the street and having no idea. So this is just like the other part of my ghost story. So that happened earlier in the week. I think that was where I thought I saw the guy at the subway. I think that was on Wednesday or Thursday. So on Shabbat, I was kiddish shopping. And I was walking up to like one of the shuls and I see this guy and he looks vaguely familiar, but I couldn't place him. And then I thought he waved to me, and I'm like, who is this guy who is waving to me? He might not have been waving to me. He could have been waving to someone behind me. There was a lot of people there. But I was like, who is this guy? And then it hit me. I remembered. So, basically a few years ago, like way before COVID, I went to London. I had a little heartache of my own. I really liked this guy, and we were friends, and he gave me a lot of mixed signals. And then he rejected me. Like, I told him how I felt because I just, like, couldn't deal with it anymore.
About the friend zone thing.
And then he rejected me. So I hopped on a flight that he had helped me book to a different country. And I went to go visit. I already had this flight booked before this happened. But I was like, this is convenient timing because I can just run away to a different country. But again, he helped me book the flight. Whatever. It's fine. We're way over this, and he's married, and, like, we don't care. But
I've been there.
It's just like, it was just like at the time I was like really in my feelings about it. So
never be friends with someone you like. That's what I've learned.
No, so I only started becoming better friends with him because I liked him.
Right. Same.
And like I wanted more, and he was giving me mixed signals, but like now we're like so over that. I don't really like having like close guy friends, and like if there's a guy I have feelings for and I know he doesn't have feelings for me, I'm not going to be friends with him. Like, I mean, it doesn't really happen anymore because I like put a barrier anyways. Right. But wait, so I was really in my feelings, and I went to London to visit my friend was living in London for a few years. And so I went to go visit her. She's one of my really good friends. And I get there. I obviously had told her all about my heartache. And she's like, okay, Rachel, get on the apps and swipe until you get a date. Like, that's it. Like, just swipe until you get a date. Like, put your bio as, like, here for the week, looking for someone to show me around or something like that. So I'm swiping, I'm chatting. Finally, a guy asked me out. I'm like, okay, we have a date. And we made sure he wasn't like a serial killer, but like I wasn't really picky on who the guy was. Like, he matched my criteria as like, whatever.
Is he British?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he, whatever.
I like their accents.
Yeah. I was like, okay, if anything, this will just be like a nice time listening to a guy speaking a British accent to get my mind off of like this guy. So we met up for a drink, and then we took a walk. It was September in London, gorgeous weather. It was like, honestly, nothing having to do with him, but it was the most romantic date I've ever been on in my entire life.
Oh, God.
Like, thus far. It was just like a gorgeous setting. Like, you can't beat that. Like, I literally can't tell you a single detail about this guy. But like, and I don't really care, because I didn't, like, in my head, like, I knew it wasn't gonna... You can tell, like, if it's going to be it. Like, okay, am I going to have a London boyfriend? Like, no. I wasn't looking for a London boyfriend. I was just looking for a nice night.
Right.
And, like, to have a good experience after, like, feeling so crappy. And it was perfect. And, like, I knew at the end of the night, like, I'm never going to see this guy again. And, like, that was fine. So,
until you do.
Okay, so I think I told this story on, like, a different episode, like, way at the beginning, like, one of my best dates I ever had. So it was just beautiful. Like, we had, like, decent conversation, I think, when I could understand him. Sometimes I couldn't understand him. Because, you know, the accent, whatever. And we're walking along the river, and it's gorgeous. Like, it's the Thames River. It's, like, all lit up. Like, for those of you who haven't been to London or know anything of what I'm talking about, there's a bunch of, like, bars and restaurants. It's kind of like a pier area. And it's, like, beautifully lit up. The weather was perfect.
Are you saying it's nicer than New York? Are you saying there are cities that are nicer
Yeah,
than
London
New York
is like
City
the
with
most
all
gorgeous
the
city.
rats and cockroaches?
London is my favorite city. It makes New York look like New York is a dumpster, but like it makes New York look even more like a dumpster.
I think since COVID, New York has turned into so much more of a dumpster. But
Oh,
continue
no,
your
I
story.
agree. Oh God, I had to deal with that today too. But okay, so whatever. I'm having a really nice date with this guy. It's just a beautiful atmosphere, and I'm like, okay, this is a nice night. And then he kind of caught me off guard because he tried to kiss me, and I just wasn't expecting it, and I like wasn't prepared for it, and I like just didn't even consider it. So I just kind of freaked out and moved my face. Like looking back, like I just should have had like the perfect kiss on the perfect date and then never talked to him ever again. Like that would have been great.
That would have been nice.
That would have been really nice, but I didn't. And it was awkward after that a little bit. But he was still a really like nice guy, and he took me all the way back to my friend's house, even though like his stop on the train was way before hers, and he had to get back on the train to go home. Like
it already sounds better than every guy I know in New York.
exactly. And I'm like, what a shame that he's not my London boy that I just like moved to London to marry. But like it's fine. I had a really nice time. He's a nice guy, and I'm never gonna see him or talk to him ever again. And like that's fine because that's what I wanted, and that's what it was. Until I'm standing outside of Shul and I'm like, holy crap, is that him? And then I saw him later at the park and I was like, I think it's him. Then I told my other friend and I'm like, the only way for us to know, I was like, should I go up to him and ask? And they're like, yeah, do it. I'm like, that's so weird. Like,
honestly sounds like a storyline from 90210. Like out of a TV show.
Like, it's just weird. Like I was only going to go up to him just to see if like he was the guy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything then. I don't want anything now. Like, there was no ulterior motive. I just wanted to know. I was like, okay, maybe if I see him talking to, like, people I know, I'll go up and, like, whatever, and introduce myself and be like, oh, you look really familiar. Like, whatever. And then have the conversation. But no. So then my friend and I were standing there. I'm like, okay, the way to tell is to go up close enough to see if he has an accent. If he has an accent, then I'm going to say it's him. If he doesn't, then we're going to forget about it. And we went up and he had an accent, but then some girl walked up and they looked really coupley, and then I saw a ring on her finger and I'm like, okay, so we're not going to go talk to him.
Oh my God.
Like it's not that I wanted anything else than to just see if it was him, but it's like, I'm not looking to like bring up like old dates with like someone in front of their fiance. Like, no, thank you.
How much time had passed in between the date and when you saw him?
Almost 4 years.
Oh, wow.
This was September 2019 and we are in May 2023.
Oh, this just happened that you saw him?
Yeah, literally this past Shabbat.
Oh my God.
Like, he might have lived here for a while and we just run in different circles.
Wow.
Like, who knows? But yeah.
Speaking of passing people on the street, I had a really awkward date situation once. I had gone on a couple dates with this guy and we were supposed to go out one night. And I hadn't heard from him, so I texted him to confirm our plans, and he was like, yeah, we're still on, but, like, can you talk later today? And I was like, what does he want to talk about if we're going out tonight? And I'm like, okay, sure. So he calls me, and he was like, oh, I saw you on the street today, and you were with a guy. And I was very uncomfortable because it's kind of unsettling when someone sees you and you don't see them. And I probably walked right by him, and I'm so spacey that, like, I never notice people when I'm walking. Like, people literally have to be waving in my face for me to notice them. So I just completely did not see him, and I was really embarrassed that I didn't see him, like, didn't say hi to him. But basically, he thought I was on a date, and he was kind of, like, questioning me, and I was like, why? Like, first of all, I've only been on a few dates with you, so even if I was on a date with another guy, it's not a big deal. But also, it was the middle of, like, a Wednesday afternoon. Like, who goes on a date in the middle of, like, a Wednesday, 2 dates in one day? And if this was my boyfriend, then, like, why would I be going out with him? Like, it just didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And it just made things awkward.
Was that the last date you went on?
Yeah, it was the last date.
I mean, it is kind of weird. Also, like, I wouldn't have had a whole call about it. I would have casually brought it up on the date. Like,
on the date,
oh, by the way, like, I think I saw you earlier. Like, but also,
girls can have guy friends. Like, it wasn't...
Also, it's a Wednesday. Who knows? Like,
I don't know if I said that part. I was with a guy that I'm friends with. We were walking down the street together.
It could have been anyone. Like, you could be with coworkers. You could be with, like
this guy kind of looks like
Wednesday.
Me. It could have been my brother.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's weird that, like,
Like that was his first assumption. Like he jumped to that conclusion out of everything.
Also, like the way he did it was like, oh, I'm calling you to confront you about this.
Like he was also like, it's fine if you're that type of person who dates multiple people at once, but I'm not like that. That was like his point.
Okay, but like maybe instead of doing that, bring it up casually,
right?
And then be like, oh, okay, and then maybe be like, oh, I really like you, like I'd like to date you, like I'm not really dating anyone else, and like just bring the exclusivity conversation into it, like,
or been like, oh, who was that guy you were with, and I said, oh, that's my friend.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, by the way, I think I passed by you earlier. You were walking with a guy. Like, what were you up to?
Yeah, totally.
Like, you could play it way cooler.
I was so uncomfortable.
I don't know. Also, guys are so obvious when they're talking to another girl. It's like, it's just like, okay, like, I already know there's someone else.
Right.
One time a guy, like, was being weird with me, and, like, it took him a while to, like, end things. And I was like, okay, like, I didn't really care, but he was just, like, being weird about it. We hadn't seen each other in a while. We were, like, ish talking, and I was like, okay, yo, what's going on? And then, like, my head went to, like, oh, maybe he's, like, talking to someone else. And, like, that's fine, but also just, like, don't blow me off. It's just, like, just tell me. Like, if you're more interested in someone else, that's fine. I'm just, like, it was also, like, COVID, and I had told him, I was like, I'm not trying to, like, rush into anything, but also, like, I don't want to be, like, not social distancing with you if, like,
right.
Like, this is, like, pre-vaccine era COVID, like,
the good old days.
Like, good old days, yeah, and so, literally, he ended things on the phone, and I was like, okay, cool, and he's like, there's not another girl. Like, I literally didn't ask. I was like...
That's a weird thing to say.
I was like, I don't care?
That's odd.
Like, here's my thing, like, sometimes... I used to be a big, like, roster type of girl. It's not like I was seeing all these guys, but just, like, my texting roster.
Options, yeah.
I like having my texting roster. It's like, okay, but then once you, like, start going out with one of them, like, you just go through the roster. And it's like, okay, if I go out with one of them and I don't like them, it's, like, fine. It's not like I'm, like, one of those roster girls who, like, just picks who she wants to hook up with. It's, like, more of a texting thing.
Right.
Which I haven't done in a long time, because I just have no energy.
I hear that.
But... it's like, okay, so I used to do that, but it wasn't anything serious. If I'm, like, actually for real dating someone, like, I understand we live in a world where, like, people date multiple people at the same time, and, like, I've double dipped before, and, like, but, like, the only times I've double dipped is when I'm, like, not that serious.
So, here's the thing. I don't see a problem with dating multiple people at a time, but for me, in order to really give someone a chance, I feel like they need to be the only person that I'm talking to, because otherwise if I'm talking to someone else, be like, oh, but I like this other person more, it's hard to, like, really give them a fair chance.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then
I feel like I've, like, messed up situations in the past because I was dating someone and also talking to another guy that was going nowhere. You know, things were going nowhere with him, but I was like, oh, but I like him better than the guy I'm dating, so...
Yeah, I've probably done that before, too. But... I don't know, like, I agree. I have to, like, give one person my attention. And, like, I realize, like, it's okay to put people on hold. Like, yeah. I'll just tell the guy, it's like, hey, I, like, started seeing someone, like, I can let you know if things change.
Yeah, I think that's totally
and
fine.
I think there's no problem in going back.
I heard you talk about this in another episode about guys waiting to text you after a date.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that.
It really bothers me. Even, okay, I understand 2 days is not a big deal, but, like, are you really that busy that you can't text me the next day?
And, like, my thing is, like, going back to, like, the no games, like, I want to be with someone who's thinking about me. I want to be with someone who wants to be with me. And, like, if you're thinking about someone and you want to be with them and you're excited about someone, you're going to text them because you want to talk to them. Right. And it's like, why do I want to, like, waste my time on a guy who, like, doesn't even have enough interest to not text me for a few days?
I also don't like when a guy is not decisive about what he wants. If he'll wait a few days to text me and then, like, start making small talk with me and kind of try to leave it up to me. And it's like, why can't you just make a decision? You either want to go out again or you don't. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and like if I'm neutral, like I guess it's a double
If I'm
standard,
neutral,
but
it is a double standard totally, but if I'm neutral and he acts like that, it will push me to the edge of I don't want to go out again.
same, same. And once
If
I
I'm a
decide,
maybe, then just consider me a no.
like once I get annoyed with a guy, I don't want to go out with him again. Like everyone's like, Rachel, you already worked yourself up too much and got too annoyed. Like don't go out with him. And like it's really true. And it's like unless I'm like really dating someone and like they do something to get on my nerves, like if it's like 1-2 dates and they're already on my nerves, that's a bad sign.
Definitely. And it's also like you don't know the person well enough at that point. You don't have
Yeah.
enough invested like that you can focus on the good and like get over whatever annoys you about them.
Yeah.
So it's
Like
just
like my real relationships, like my exes, like we got in fights. There were things that bothered me that we talked about, but it was like we were already
there's enough of a
dating.
foundation.
Yeah, there was a foundation, like, but once I'm annoyed with someone, I'm just like, nah, I don't want to.
What if a guy doesn't walk you home on a date and he lives like a block or two away from you?
It's a red flag.
Yeah.
I
I've
would
had that happen.
I would tell him. Honestly, like I'm so no filter these days. Like I would be like, "Oh, you're not going to walk me home."
I love that.
Like unless I don't want
I'd
him
be
to
too
walk me
scared to
home.
do that.
But also like I haven't really had that problem cuz it's either I never want to see the guy again and I don't care if he walks me home, or it's like he walks me home or
Right.
make sure I get home. Like if we're like all the way downtown and he's going one way and I'm going the other way, like walk me to the subway, tell me to text you when I get
Right. Like
home.
I'm totally not asking someone to go out of their way to take me home, like 100%. But if
Oh,
you
I
live
am.
a block away from
Depends
me
how
and
much
we
out
get
of
to
the
your
way.
apartment first and you're like, okay, bye. It's like, really, you
No.
couldn't at least offer, be like, oh, do you want me to walk you? And I'd say, no, I'm fine, you know?
Depends how much out of the way. I also prefer when guys take me on dates close to my apartment.
Yeah, well, I feel like most guys leave the planning up to me because they're lazy.
No, I won't go out. It's like you either make a plan or I'm not going out with you.
Well, okay. To be
It's a
fair,
pet peeve of mine.
sometimes guys come to me with a plan and I shoot it down. To be fair.
Okay, so like being
Because, like, on a first or second date, I don't want to go out to dinner with you. That's just my personal preference. And I totally understand that other girls and other guys don't feel that way. That's just my preference. Like,
it's like
I'd rather something more casual, like, let's go get drinks, let's go get coffee, something like that.
yeah.
So if a guy wants to go out at dinner time and he's like, oh, we could get dinner, I'd be like, or we could just get drinks. And that's on me. And then he'll be like, okay, what bar do you like? And I
And it's
realize
like
that I've, like, put it upon myself to plan.
but I don't like that because I don't go out that much. Like with friends. Like I don't like make plans with friends to like go out to a bar.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have a favorite bar. Like what I'm gonna do to find one is go to Google,
Right.
which is the same thing that you can do.
Right.
I mean, like, I have, like, a few in my back pocket, just, like, if guys are really, like, unfamiliar with the area. And, like, I have found that guys will, like, Google places and it's, like, kind of loud. And I don't like it. And I get particular with that. Like, on a first date, I want to be able to hear you. So, like, my friends have told me about, like, quieter bars that are just, like, chill.
Oh, that's
Like,
good to know.
close by. But, okay, wait. Before we continue, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors. And we will be right back.
Sticky Situations is sponsored by Corona Crush. Are you tired of swiping on dating apps? Tired of guessing whether the cute guy or girl you keep seeing around is Jewish and or single? Then you need to run, not walk to join Corona Crush. Corona Crush is a Jewish organization working to create Jewish couples always. Corona Crush has over 30 confirmed engagements, over 22,000 members from all over the world, and has set up over 50,000 speed dates. Join the Corona Crush Facebook group and post yourself or have a friend post you and see who reaches out. Fill out the survey to sign up for virtual speed dating events happening every other week. Corona Crush is 100% free and 100% Jewish. Worst case, you end up with some stories of your own. Best case, you find the love of your life. Try it out today. Here on Sticky Situations, we tend to focus on bad dating stories, but sometimes dates do go well and lead to proposals and weddings. Who would have thought? And what do all of those require, you might be asking? Well, the answer is flowers. Who doesn't want flowers from someone they've been seeing? Don't forget, flower petals and bouquets needed for proposals. And that's even before all the flowers that go into weddings. Sticky Situations is sponsored by Primrose Flower Shop. In my opinion, Primrose is the coolest flower shop around and has the best customer service to fulfill all of your floral needs. Primrose offers a range of services from your basic bouquets to subscription services where you can get flowers delivered once a week. They deliver all over the tri-state area, including Manhattan. Primrose does weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, and other simchas. I've personally been to a wedding where Primrose did the flowers, and the work they did was beyond gorgeous. Primrose additionally offers in-store proposals, including a romantic setup with candles and music. Primrose is located at 2922 Avenue M in Brooklyn, and the phone number is 929-376-9815. You can also follow Primrose on Instagram at PrimroseNY. So, if you can't get someone out of your head, buy them some flowers from Primrose. They'll either love it or they'll find you really creepy. But regardless, the flowers will be out of this world.
We're back, everyone. Okay, Hannah told me she has a funny story that she wants to tell.
Okay, so I went on a date one night, and my friend went on a date the same night, which I love when that happens, because I'm like, okay, at least I'm not the only one that has to be miserable and go on a date tonight. My friend is also miserable going on a date tonight. So, and we, like, had plans. We were going to meet up after. So I went on my date, and he was totally normal, and, like, everything went fine. And I meet up with her after her date, and she's, like, freaking out because she went out with this guy to a restaurant. And afterwards, he's like, do you want to go for a walk? So she was like, okay. So he's like, okay, let's go to Central Park. So they go to Central Park. It's like 9 p.m. They go for a walk.
That's so creepy.
And, like, as soon as they get there, he's like, oh, I should have used the bathroom in the restaurant. And he's like, I'm just going to go over here. And
oh, no.
She had to, like, walk herself away because he just, like, started to, you know, go to the bathroom right in front of her.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, that is a red flag.
That's not even the first time I've heard that. Like, someone
Just,
else,
like,
other people have
until,
told stories. Like,
I understand it's easy for a guy, like, nature is their bathroom, but if you're on a first date, just be like, oh, can we go? I need to use the bathroom.
Yeah. Also, like, I always make sure to go at the bar or restaurant.
Or you just, like, hold it. Like, we're adults. You can just hold it.
I mean, I'm not really good at holding it, but it's fine. Like, some people have smaller bladders than others, but, like, you could find a bathroom.
Right. Or you just...
Also, like, why are you walking in Central Park at 9 p.m.?
It's sketchy.
It's sketchy. I, like, would not go to a dark park with a guy on a first date.
Probably not the best idea.
Yeah, like, even if he doesn't murder you, the homeless people will.
Or the rats.
Or the rats, yeah.
I went on a date once on a Saturday night. It was really late because it was in the summer. And we like, got ice cream and we walked to Central Park West. And we sat on a bench. And the entire time there were rats running around under our feet.
Ew.
And I'm like, this is just not a good setting for a date. Like, how am I supposed to fall in love with you and there's rats running all around us?
Yeah. You should have said that to him. How am I supposed to fall in love with you with the rats?
I mean, it ended up being the last date. But
I won't go on dates late.
Like, I actually like going late because I feel like it gives me an out. Because then if I go out at 8 o'clock, after 2 hours, I can be like, okay, it's late. Do you want to head out soon?
Okay, 8 o'clock is fine, but, like, when Shabbat ends so late.
Right, it was really late. It was like...
This being said, like, I literally went on my first date with my ex-boyfriend on a Saturday night at, like, 10 o'clock.
The first date?
Yeah. Well, it was circumstantial because I was, like, going to my friend. We had already, like, planned to, like, go out. Like, I met him on a dating app. We'd been talking. And he's like, okay, do you want to go out? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. We had plans for Sunday. Or we had tentative plans for Sunday.
Yeah.
And then we had been talking, and I said I was going to my friend for Shabbat in New Jersey. And he's like, what town does she live in? And I told him, and he's like, that's so funny. That's where I live. And I'm like...
Did he pick you up in his car?
Yeah.
I love being picked up in a car.
Yeah, but I was, like, so sketched out. I was like,
Having a car is a green flag to me.
Yeah.
Like, that is all I want in life.
Yeah. I mean, he picked me up in front of my friend's house. I literally took a picture of his license plate and sent it to my friends. Like, he told me to. I was like, just letting you know, all my friends have my location, and I have my taser. And he's like,
That
okay.
is hilarious.
No, he asked me, like, a few months into dating, and he's like, do you still send all your friends your location when we go out? I'm like, no. If you wanted to murder me, you would have done it by now. Or
How
kidnapped
do you
me.
feel about the dating apps?
They've gotten worse, but also, like, what are my other options?
It's so hard to make conversation. Again, it's like, if the conversation's boring, I just cannot. I want to throw my phone in the Hudson. I can't handle it.
No, I agree, and I haven't had a really good conversation. I had a decent conversation from the apps, like, not that long ago, but then he ended up ghosting me, and I was like, whatever. I already called him out for ghosting me once. So then when he did it again, I was like, I'm already over it.
Wait, he ghosted you twice?
Okay, so I think I talked about this on a different episode that may or may not have had aired. No, so here's what happened. My friend, I think I talked about this on a previous episode that I just haven't aired yet, so you guys haven't heard, so you get to hear it again. My friend told me about this technique that she uses at work, but also she used it on a guy, so then I wanted to try it. It's called the concerned kindly reply.
Say that again?
Concerned kindly reply. She says she uses it at work all the time. And it's like someone's not answering, so then like a lot of time goes by and you just like want an answer. So you send them a message like, hey, like whatever, like I haven't heard from you. Like, is everything okay?
That's great.
And like, you know, he's just being a jerk and ghosting you. But like, you want to make him feel like a jerk. And like, it's the most surefire way to make a guy feel like an asshole. And I think it's better to make a guy feel like an asshole on his own than telling him he's an asshole.
Right.
Like, I think it just holds so much more power. So, listen, I talk about this on the podcast a lot. I have a 48-hour rule. If I don't hear from a guy in 48 hours, he's dead to me. Like, I just, like...
Can we narrow that down to 24? Because
yeah. I only use 48.
48's being generous.
48 is being generous, but here's why I did 48 instead of 24. I have had a period of 24 hours where I, like, just don't look at my phone. Like, I've had, like, crazy days at work where, like, work is just so busy that I'm, like, it's not even that I'm not looking at my phone. It's, like, I don't have the mental capacity to think of a response to a guy.
Right.
And
It's
I just, like, I don't.
but-
And then, like, I have something right after work and, like, I'm not looking at my phone. And then I'm exhausted when I get home and I go right to bed. So, like, I can see where 24 hours could go by and someone literally could have the busiest day of their life, but it's not every day. It's once in a while. So you give them the grace of that one day, and then after the second day happens, then, like, they're dead to me.
But it's also like, if you wait 48 hours and tell me you don't want to go out again, I'm like, that's fine. But if you do want to go out again, then why did it take you so long to text me? Again, like, to what you were saying, like, you would think they'd be excited and
No, I
wanna
agree.
talk to you.
I agree. And, like, the 48 hours is really just
But I
grace.
get people are busy. I mean, he could get on a flight to Israel and
Yeah.
not
No,
be able
it's
to
really just giving a little bit of grace because I've been told I don't give any grace when it comes to this kind of stuff. So it's like 48 hours is giving grace. But honestly, I lose interest after, like, if I don't hear from a guy all day, like probably for 24 hours, I lose interest.
Right.
Unless he texts me right the next morning. It's like, oh my gosh, I had the craziest day of my entire life yesterday. Like, I'm so sorry. I meant to text you. Like all of this, good morning, like, how are you? How was your day yesterday? Like, and I have had guys do that, and I believe them once.
Right.
I always believe someone once. But, like, after 48 hours, you don't have an excuse, unless it's a Jewish holiday. But, yeah, so the 48 hours had already passed with this guy, and I'm like, I'm already over it. Like, it's not even that, like, oh my god, I hate him, he's dead to me. It's like, once I really don't think someone who's interested in you would wait more than 48 hours to text you. And, like,
Agreed.
when I see someone else isn't interested, I'm not interested. Like,
Also, if the date wasn't amazing, you just start to forget about it.
yeah.
And
So,
at that point, you just kind of assume, like, if the date wasn't that great and you don't hear from him, you're like, okay, I guess he doesn't want to go out again. So if he reappears 48 hours later and is like, hey, I'd love to go out again, you kind of already made that decision in your head that he didn't want to go out again.
yeah, and
you're
it's
kind
like,
of over
ugh,
it by that point.
now I have to go out with him again. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I agree. But, so this guy, we were just talking. We hadn't even gotten past that or anything. And I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere anyways. So I hit him with a concerned kindly reply. He, like, messaged me back within the next 30 seconds. Like, he sent me a 30-second voice note 30 seconds later. So, like...
He sent you a voice note? That's intense.
Yeah, he's British, though, so...
Okay, so
I
at least
enjoyed
his
his
voice
accent.
sounded nice.
Yeah, usually I don't like voice notes with guys. It's like, just text me. Like, voice notes take a lot of my mental energy, and I just don't want it. But, like, he had a nice accent, and I really liked it. So I was like, okay, I'll make an exception to my rule. Meaning, like, even before when we were talking and he had sent me a voice note, I'm like, I made an exception to this rule. If he has a cute accent, I'm okay with it.
I love when British guys say my name. Be like, can you just send
Hannah. Rachel. Yeah,
I
it's
think it
cute.
sounds so much
It's
better.
just cute when they talk, okay? Maybe I'm, like, meant to be with a British guy.
They're on. It's first of all sounds like you are, but also they're just starting out. Like it's not an even playing field.
Yeah, they start out on a higher level. Like, this
Yeah.
guy wasn't even that cute. And, like, but his accent. The accent adds, like, hot points.
Yeah, for sure. Like these
Like,
American
attractive
guys are at a
points.
disadvantage, honestly.
Like, I could just close my eyes and he could talk to me, and I'd be, like, so into
Do you
it.
think anyone in the world likes American accents? Because I will go to that country and be
No.
like,
Everyone thinks we're annoying.
yeah.
But it's okay. I also like a southern accent. If a guy had, like, a nice southern accent, I think I'd be into that, too.
I don't think I know any Southern guys.
I don't think I dated any guys with southern accents. But if I did, theoretically, I would be into it.
I wouldn't mind a cowboy.
I don't really want a cowboy. I didn't date. I talked to a guy who had a horse.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he, like, lived in the South and had a horse, and he's like, I'm a cowboy. I'm like, you're not. Like, okay. I actually kind of liked him, but then, like, he ended things really weirdly. We only talked for a few days. I was like, we had, like, good banter, though. Here's the thing.
It's hard to find.
I remember the majority of the guys I go out with. I remember the majority of the guys I have interactions with. If they're memorable. If it's not memorable, obviously I don't. But, like, especially if I have good conversation and banter and, like, actual chemistry with someone. Because it's very rare. So, like, even if I only talk to a guy for, like, a few days, or if only I went on, like, 1 date or 2 dates with him, if I had any sort of chemistry or banter with him, I'm going to remember him. I do remember most guys I went on first dates with, I guess, except for this guy in London. But it's fine. It was a long time ago, and, like, I really, like, it was a weird time in my life.
Wait, so the guy that you ghosted twice. So, I mean, he ghosted you, then you did the concern.
Oh, then I did concern kindly reply, and then we talked for a couple days, and then he was, like, not picking up the conversation, so I just, like, let it end, and he never restarted it.
I feel like there's a text you could send when someone ghosts you, and
like, your subscription has expired.
say something like you're the one ending it. Be like, I liked you, but I realize now that you're not mature enough to communicate, and so I think it's better.
Yeah, I also like
each other again.
I think you don't really owe anyone anything if you're just talking, but at the same time, like, if you've already exchanged phone numbers, like, I already have this random chat with an unsaved number on my phone. Like, the least you could do is tell me you don't want to talk to me anymore.
I get it, because I sometimes want to ghost guys too, because it's the easier option. And, like, sometimes it's hard when you want to reject someone. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You want to be nice about it. And it's like, well, how do I word it? But at this age, you just have to be mature enough to, like, suck it up and send that text.
Also,
and
like,
if you're struggling, just have ChatGPT write it for you.
Exactly.
It's not that hard.
Also, if you haven't really met in person, it's no harm, no foul. It's just like, hey, like, it's been fun talking to you, but I just, like, don't really see this materializing into anything.
Right.
Or going anywhere. Or I started talking to someone else. Like,
it's easier not to send that text, but you just have to be mature and do it.
Yeah. And, like, I've done it before. Where I've, like, been talking to a guy and it's just, like, not it. And, like, I start talking to someone else, or I get really busy, or I just, like, can't handle it.
Yeah.
Or I just, like, don't want to talk anymore. The only times I really ghost is when I already have that conversation, and then he messages me again. Then I'll ignore it.
And you're like, well, what are you doing here?
Literally last year, I was talking to this guy, and he, like, there was a lot of things he didn't tell me. And I was just, like, getting frustrated with him because we'd been talking for a while, and I'm like, so, like, every time I, like, mentioned him, like, ask me on a date and, like, taking me on a date, or, like, even having a phone call, he would make excuses. And so, like, finally I was like, what's wrong with you that you, like, won't even talk to me? Like, you won't even have a phone call with me. And, like, there was just a lot of things he was hiding from me that, like, I don't know, probably would have been deal breakers in the long run, but, like, the biggest deal breaker was the fact that, like, we were talking for so long. He was just, like, stringing me along. He hid everything from me. I'm like, this is so dumb. So I told him, I'm like, I just, like, can't do this. I'm like, this isn't going anywhere because, like, yes, because of all the reasons, but also because of the fact that, like, you weren't upfront with me. Like, I'm super upfront, and I appreciate when people tell the truth. Like, you basically lied to me.
Rihanna. I don't love the way you lie.
Yeah, no, he lied to me for, like, we talked probably for 2 months. I'm like, you lied to... I was talking to other guys, too, but, like, whatever. I was like, you lied to me, whatever. So, I, like, ended it, and then, like, a week later, he sends me a text. He's like, hey, how's the podcast going? Because I think I had just, like, started the podcasting. Like, I had just started the podcast up.
Yeah.
This was June last year. June 2022. So, I think my first episode came out in, like, May or June. And, like, I had been working on it for a while also. And, like, it's just, like, a big thing that I talk about because it's a big thing going on in my life.
Right.
So, like, he asked me about it. I'm like, I'm not answering you. I just, like, told you why I don't want to talk to you. Like, I'm not answering this.
It's so funny. The same thing happened to my friend, kind of. She went out with a guy, and then she ended it after one date, and he continued texting her. He would be like, oh, like, which TV shows do you recommend that I watch? And just kept, like, asking her random questions. She's like, we are not friends. We went on one date. Stop texting me.
Yeah, I don't know. I went out with this guy also, like, a while back. We only really went on 3 dates. We talked for a little longer because of circumstances, like, being out of town and everything. And, like, I just wasn't feeling it. I ended it. And he's like, I want to stay friends and this and that. But then he was just, like, getting too much. I'm like, I really just, like, I can't be friends with you. Like, we're not friends. Like, I don't want to be your friend. I can't be what you want me to be. And, like, I just, like, can you stop talking? Like, stop talking to me. So then he stopped texting me, but then he replies to all my Instagram stories. Like, he, like, swipes up at all my Instagram stories. Everyone's, like, block him. Well, first he's like, why don't you just marry me and have my babies? And I'm like, can you not? Like, I just, like, don't want to. And I'm like,
out of town, like, guys who live in random places, they can be so intense about finding a wife.
He lives in New York.
Oh.
I'm like, can you not? Like, I get it. You're obsessed with me, and, like, that's okay. But also at the same time, like, he also, I think, saw me as something that I wasn't. Like, he put me on this pedestal. And I'm like, I'm not what you think. Like, it is.
Be put on a pedestal.
It is nice, but then when he, like, there were things about him that I didn't like.
Right.
That, like, just how he did it. He puts me on this pedestal, but then, like, also, like, kind of gaslit me a lot about things. And I'm like, can you, like, not... Like, I feel like you're trying to manipulate me here, and I, like, don't want to be. So then he hits me up every now and again. He's like, let's hang out, let's hang out, let's hang out. I'm like, I don't want to. It's like...
At that point, I guess you could just block or just be...
I hope he's not
really
listening. I've literally...
And be like,
I think I have, like, 6 or 7 unopened Instagram messages, because he'll keep...
like, I think it's best that we don't talk.
I already did!
Oh, well...
And then instead of texting me, he, like, went to Instagram. And I'm like... Okay, like, whatever. Like, it's nice sometimes, and, like, I'm okay. I'm really good being cool with guys that I've gone out with. Like, It's really fine, and, like, if you need me at some point, like, if you like a girl, like, but he was like, the second I ended things with him, he's like, oh, can you set me up with your friends? And this, I'm like, no. Can you leave me alone? I don't have any friends for you. Like, please leave me alone. Like, whatever. I really hope he's not listening. That was, like, a weird story in itself, but I'm not going to tell it because it's just, like, too weird to tell. Not him. Like, just the whole situation. Not him. He's a nice guy. I didn't like some of the things he did. He's just not for me. Yeah. He's a good guy. He's just not for me. But, yeah.
One thing that I really don't like that I've experienced so much recently, I'll have a first phone call with a guy and he'll ask me where I want to live in the future. And I'm like, do I have to decide that right now? And, like, I had a call with a guy who doesn't live in New York, and he asked me on the first phone call if I would move to where he lives, and I understand it, like, okay, maybe you don't want to waste your time if I say I would never leave New York and you have no interest in ever moving to New York, but I just feel like a first phone call when we don't even know each other at all, it's like, why don't you wait and see if you even like me before you ask me to move out to where you live, like...
Yeah. I hate that also.
Like, this guy, I remember I had a call with a guy recently, and he asked me where I want to live, And he said he doesn't want to live in a big city. And I said, oh, I think Philly's nice because you're close to New York City, but it's not actually New York City. He's like, oh, so you're saying you want to live in Philly? I was like, I don't know. I was just saying.
But you like that city. Like, guys ask me that too, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to live in New York, but, like, I'm open.
Like,
I'm open
not
to
from
other
New York,
places.
and people-
Same.
Guys always ask me, like, oh, do you want to move back to your hometown or do you want to stay in New York? I'm like, do I have to decide that this minute?
Also, like, why are those my only two options?
I just had a call with a guy and he asked me that, and I said, I'm like, I don't know, New York City is fine for now. He's like, you don't sound very enthusiastic about it.
It's like, okay, like, why do I have to defend my whole life to you?
Right.
I will say, though, like, if a guy lives somewhere where I, like, would want to live, potentially, like, I do have, like, certain communities that are on my list of places I would like to at least check out, like, ideas in my head of maybe where I'd want to live, even though I'm very open to places as long as they aren't New York.
I have nowhere I want to live, but I have cities that I would not live in.
Yeah, New York, New Jersey, Brooklyn, I mean, which is New York, but no, like,
I don't want to offend anyone, but, like, I would never move to Cleveland or Detroit or Chicago or...
I don't know, like, I've thought about, definitely not Detroit, but, like, I'm from Columbus, so, like, I was like, if I ever moved back to Ohio, I'd probably move to Cleveland. Cleveland is way nicer than Columbus, but also I don't like the cold. And I've thought about Chicago, but I'm like, I hate the cold. I'm more of, like, a southern type of
warm weather city?
Like, okay, I'll tell you the places that I've thought of in my head.
Yeah.
Like Atlanta.
I love Atlanta. It's just so humid in the summers.
Yeah, that's the problem. And, like, I don't know, maybe places in Texas, but it's very hot there. But also I like the heat. Like, I'm open to Florida, but, like, it's not at the top of my list.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. My thing is...
Where else? Where's, like, a good warm weather city that's not Florida?
Memphis. It's also hot.
I
don't think I could...
California is just so far, like...
Yeah, like...
I'm an East Coast girl. I
don't know. I talk to guys in LA, and the LA mentality is, like, just assuming you're going to move to LA to be with them. And it's, like, in no world of mine, like, do I see myself moving to LA unless you literally... Like, if it happens, it happens. But I'm not, like, about to, like, move to LA to be with a guy.
Far.
LA is so far. Also, like, I haven't been there in a long time. I don't know if I'd like it. Like, these other places I've been to.
It's such a different mentality.
Yeah, I want to go somewhere, like, very nice. Like, I'm from a very nice community. Midwest, nice community.
Move to Pittsburgh.
I don't want to. I want to go somewhere warm. But, like, okay, so if a guy is from somewhere that I would be, I'm very into it. Like, I talked to a guy who lived in Atlanta, and I was like, he's like, okay, so would you move to Atlanta? I was like, yeah, come get me right now. Like, like, come pack my stuff up.
Propose to me right now, and I'm there.
And I'm there. Just, like, take me out of like, I'm waiting for my Prince Charming to come and take me out of New York.
It would be so nice if someone was just already settled, living in a place you want to be, and you could just move in and not have to put in the work of, like, finding a house. And
I mean, I think I definitely do want to, like, go through the process and, like, find something that's mine. Because also guys' taste, I don't trust guys' taste.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like, my ex-boyfriend, he lived in New Jersey, which, like, was not ideal, but he had a business and he made a lot of money, and I was like, okay,
I'm coming around to Jersey much more recently.
No, I'm really not. I resigned my life to it when I thought I was going to be with him forever, and, like, I was okay with it because, like, he promised me whatever I wanted, even though he already owned his house, and I was like, I hate your house. He's like, okay, we could do renovations. I'm like, okay, because it needs it. Like, it's not that I hated his house. I'm like, it's not big enough. Like, we need more bathrooms.
Well, was he like, I have to stay in this house forever?
Well, he owns it, and the housing market was bad. He's also a contractor. So, like,
he's like, I could do any.
He's like, I could do it. I'm like, okay, build, like, 3 more bathrooms.
Bathrooms are important.
I really believe the key to Shalom Bayit is to have multiple TVs and have a lot of bathrooms.
I've had experiences where I haven't had enough bathrooms in my life, and I feel like I'm traumatized, and I'm just like,
yeah,
give me my own bathroom, and my husband can have his own bathroom.
Yeah, and I want my kids to not have to feel like there's only one bathroom for all of them to use, plus guests come over. Like,
I think everyone in life should have their own bathroom. It's just one of those things, you know?
Yeah, it would be nice. Maybe, like, 2 kids could share a bathroom, like...
Realistically.
I think 2 people to 1 bathroom is an okay ratio.
Yeah, that's doable.
That's doable. But also, like, if you have the luxury of everyone having their own bathroom. then I don't know. I really believe that's the key to Sheldon by it, but maybe that's because all the big fights in my house have been centered around the TV and bathroom.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, when you need the bathroom in the morning, you need the bathroom. And if you have to be on someone else's schedule...
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess with family, it's different than roommates. Like, roommates, it's like, yeah, we have to, like, plan a schedule.
It's hard with
like
roommates.
In high school, like, my brother would need a shower in the morning, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm still gonna, like do my thing in the bathroom. But it's fine. Like, our shower is, like, separate from, like, the other part. So it's like, okay, I'm coming in to pee. Like, just don't open the shower curtain.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, like, you're in the shower in the one half of the bathroom. Like, the shower and the toilet are in one half. And then I'm gonna go, like, do my hair and makeup, wash my face, brush teeth, what. I also, like, when I was in high school, I got ready in, like, 10 minutes. And he was, like, a princess and needed, like, 30 minutes. And I'd be waiting for him in the car to go.
My dad has a rich cousin who has an apartment across the street from the Met. Beautiful apartment. Wow. And when I went there for the first time and she was giving me a tour, she has this huge, like, beautiful bathroom in her room. And then we go next to their room and there's this tiny little bathroom. She's like, and this is my husband's bathroom. I was like, goals.
Goals. Yeah. I just want a big house with lots of bathrooms. That's all I want.
I want a bathroom that has room for all my makeup and me.
And all my hair tools.
Yeah.
And all my toiletry stuff.
I feel like that's not too much to ask for. Like, I'm not being high maintenance here.
No, I don't even need my makeup and hair stuff in the bathroom. I want, like, a vanity area.
Oh, I mean...
Which I don't think is that much to ask for either.
Like, a whole filming setup, and then we become influencers and film Get Ready With Me's.
Yeah, get ready with me. Well, okay, so Hannah, do you have anything else you want to share before we wrap up the episode?
I don't think so. I think I'm ready to wrap up.
Okay. So Hannah and I have been talking this whole time, but Hannah, can you give my listeners one piece of dating advice?
I think my advice would be to be honest. And that's be honest with yourself. If you know you don't like someone, you don't have to go on a date with them. If you do like someone, tell them how you feel. There's all these rules, like, don't be the chaser, don't do this. Like, just be honest. Life is too short. Send that text. Tell someone if you like them or you don't like them. Like,
yeah.
Don't ghost someone. Just be honest. Put your feelings out there and see what happens.
I agree. That's a good one. Okay. And Hannah, last but not least, what is your Real Housewives tagline?
You live and you learn, and then you go to Vegas.
That's a good one. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Hannah, thank you so much for coming. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for having me.
And Shaky Situation Nation, you'll catch me next time. Bye, everybody.